Welcome back. Getting right into it, right? The biggest pricing mistakes I made when I started quoting commercial projects wasn't my day rate. It wasn't even my markup on equipment. It wasn't even my crew costs. It was that I was pricing the shoot and the client was buying something completely different. You know what they were buying? They were buying confidence. They were buying not having to think about the production. They were buying the result they would show their CMO in a quarterly review. The shoot that I did was just kind of like a delivery mechanism for something worth a lot more. So when you price the shoot, you leave 40 to 60% on the table on almost every single commercial project. So today, guys, I'm going to show you the framework I built to stop doing that. I call it the production house pricing framework. I'll walk you through the 5 inputs most filmmakers ignore, how to turn them into a quote structure, and the one question you need to ask every single fucking client before you send out a number. All right? I am going to tell you a number I have never said out loud. Approximately 3 years ago, I quoted a job at around $16,000. I want to walk you through exactly what that project should have been priced at using this framework, how far off I actually was. I'll give you the number at the end, along with the 1-page worksheet I now fill in before I send out any quote. It's free, it's in the description, and it takes about 15 minutes, depending on how smart you are. You need the 5 inputs first, or the number won't really mean anything to you. So let us start with the job. 3 years ago, I quoted a 2-day shoot for like a B2B software company. It's like a product walkthrough, 2 customer testimonials, clean studio lighting, simple brief. I came in at about $16,000 and I won the project. They launched the campaign across LinkedIn and YouTube paid media. It became the top of their entire demo funnel. And that film ran for approximately 8 months. I know because their head of marketing messaged me. They finally pulled it down to refresh the creative. And she said it was the highest converting asset they had ever run. Highest. Guys, I charged them for 2 shoot days, not for 8 months of performance. Not for the distribution risk they completely avoided. Not for brand equity that single video helped build. And that's when I understood the real pricing problem. I was pricing the shoot. They were buying something completely different. Let me explain what pricing the shoot actually looks like. Most filmmakers build their quotes bottom up. Day rate times number of shoot days, equipment list, crew, post-production hours, buffer, markup, done. Now that model is basically a cost plus model. You're building from inputs and adding a margin. It's how a contractor prices a kitchen renovation, right? Again, keep in mind that if you're here, you're not a contractor. You're a creative with a point of view, a track record, and depending on your positioning, a specific approach or style that the market cannot get anywhere else. The problem with cost plus is that it anchors the conversation to your costs, not to the value of the output, right? So the client looks at your quote and immediately starts negotiating line by line. Can we cut the second camera? Do we really need 2 shoot days? They are inside your cost structure. They're not really thinking about what they're trying to accomplish. And it's partly your fault. You've accidentally made yourself comparable to every other production company that sends a similar looking quote. Now, the framework, what I'm going to show you, starts from the other direction. What are all the inputs that make this project complex and valuable? Then we price from there. And we make those inputs visible to the client so the conversation changes. You become in charge of what the conversation is about. There are total 5 inputs that most filmmakers either don't include or severely undercharge for. Here we go. Input number 1, we have the creative risk. Now, how much creative problem solving does this project require? A straightforward testimonial video with a locked brief and client supplied location has a low creative risk. A campaign with no defined visual direction, 4 rounds of concept development, and a brief that says, make it feel premium, but also accessible, has a very high creative risk. Creative risk is your exposure if the first execution doesn't land, right? So most filmmakers eat this cost silently. The extra development hours, the exploratory treatments that don't get used, those type of things. Input number 2 is asset life. How long will this asset be in market? A social reel that runs for 2 weeks has a different value than a hero film that anchors a brand campaign for 18 freaking months and lives on a homepage. Asset life should affect your fee. A piece that runs for 2 years is generating value for 2 years. Your fee should reflect some proportion of that lifespan. Input number 3, we have usage rights. This one is widely misunderstood and widely undercharged. Your production fee is for making the asset. Usage rights are for the right to use it. Separate commercial transactions and should be priced separately. Are they running this in paid media? Which markets? Global or one territory? For how long? Television and cinema placements on top of digital? You need to know this. Get clear on the usage before you quote. Me myself, I've quoted production without usage, then the client runs the piece nationally on paid social for a whole 12 months and they never see another dollar from that project. Like, that's just bad on your side. Anyway, input number 4, we have revision exposure. How many rounds of revision is this client likely to request? And that, oh my god. And critically, what is the real cost of each revision cycle in your workflow? On post-heavy projects, a single revision round can mean an additional 20 to 40 hours of editor time, color work, and sound work. And if you're not pricing that exposure into your quote, you're just hoping the client is easy. So remember, price the risk. And last but not the least, input number 5 is post-production complexity. This one seems obvious, but most people underprice it again. We have CG integration, VFX, color with complex LUT builds. You could have multi-language versions, subtitles across 5 markets, motion graphics, lower thirds, each of these has a real cost, and the cost compounds like the stock market. A brief that says minimal post often means we'll ask for everything in post once the shoot is done. So price for what the brief could become, not what it says it is. Of those 5, one of them is where almost all the money goes missing. It's not the one people really expect. When I go back and reprice that $16,000 job at the end of this video, you'll see that a single one of these 5 inputs accounts for most of the gap. See if you can pick which one before I get there. Once you have your base cost, the honest cost of executing this shoot well, you run it through what I think of as a multiplier check. For each of those 5 inputs, ask, is this project low, medium, or high on this dimension? If it's low, no adjustment, you're at your base cost, right? If it's medium, you do like 1.2 to 1.4 times your base. If it's high, then you do 1.5 to 2 times your base. You don't apply all 5 multipliers simultaneously. That would blow the number through the roof and lose the brief. You identify the 1 or 2 inputs where this project is genuinely high risk or high value, and then you price those explicitly. And this is the most important part. You have a conversation with the client that makes those inputs visible. Like, you need to have a conversation. You cannot be behind your laptop and your computer. The usage rights for 18 months of national paid media is a separate line item. Here's what that looks like. That's a much easier conversation than trying to justify a number that's just mysteriously high. So keep in mind that when the inputs are visible, the client can make a decision. They can say, you know what, we actually only need 6 months of usage. Okay, great. Now the number changes and you both understand why. When the number is just a number, they negotiate. Now let's do this. Let me build an actual quote in front of you, line by line, so you can watch the number move. This is what I would do on an actual project, all right? So here's the brief. 3-day brand film for a hardware and devices company launching a new product line. 1 hero film, 2 cut downs, 1 behind-the-scenes asset, national campaign, 12 months, paid media on YouTube, LinkedIn, and connected TV. First, price it the way most of us were taught. Cost plus. 3 shoot days at, let's say, $2,500 a day, $7,500. Crew, $4,000. Gear, $3,000. Location, $2,000. Post-production, editing, color, and music, $7,000. So we see the base total comes to around $23,500. Clean, honest number. Completely reasonable, and it leaves a lot on the table. Then what you do? Shift. Now run the same project through those 5 inputs. First, we have the creative risk. The brief says precise but human, technical but warm. Now that's not a brief, that is a feeling, So you're doing 2 rounds of concept development before anyone even touches a camera. That's a high creative risk. So add $3,500. Then we have asset life and usage rights. So 12 months of national paid media is 12 months of value being generated off of your film. That is a separate line, labeled separately, so the client can see it. $7,500 for 12 months national digital usage, not buried in the production fee. It's its own transaction. Then we have revision exposure. So connected TV has specific specs per platform, right? And the product marketing teams iterate. They always do. Every round costs you real editor hours. So you price, let's say, 2 explicit revision rounds upfront, $3,000. Now we have next one, post complexity. Motion graphics for the UI, spec callouts, a product accurate grade, licensed music, add $2,500 above the base cost. So then we have the framework total as $40,000, roughly 70% higher than the cost plus number for the exact same shoot. And here is the part that matters the most. That quote does not get rejected for being high, because nothing on it is mysterious. Every line has a reason attached to it. And when the client pushes back, they push back on something specific. They say, you know what, we might not do connected TV, let's kill it. Fine, you come down $2,000 and you both understand exactly what changed and why. And again, keep in mind, all of these information that I'm giving is very important, but you have to be good at your work. So they're not going to just listen if your quality of work doesn't speak for you. That is a prerequisite to all of this. You need to be good at what you do. Do not forget that. Moving back, this type of conversation never really happens on a cost plus quote. There is no shared language for it. They just tell you the number's too high and you just start cutting like a street negotiation. Keep in mind that the principle holds on every project. I've actually applied it to present the framework, have the usage conversation, and you routinely land 20 to 40% above where you would have landed. And the client understands why. The practical takeaway. Now, before you quote any commercial project, you kind of need one piece of information. How do you plan to use this and for how long? That question changes the entire conversation. It moves you from an order taker to a strategic collaborator. It tells you whether you're pricing a 2-week social asset or an 18-month brand campaign anchor. And I get it, I was one of them as well. Most filmmakers are afraid to ask this question because they think it'll slow the brief down. In my experience, it speeds it up. Clients who have done this before know exactly what the answer is. They know you're serious. Clients who haven't been asked before realize they should be thinking about it. It's a learning curve for both sides, So either way, you're suddenly the person in the room who's thinking about the full value of the project, not just the cost of executing it. Keep in mind, you are not a contractor. You are a creative person who's giving a point of view. You're a storyteller. Keep that in mind. The number, that B2B software job. 2 shoot days, product walkthrough, 2 testimonials. I charged $16,000. Now let me reprice it with the framework right now. So creative risk, low. The brief was locked, the location was theirs, the script was signed off, no adjustment, still $16,000. Revision exposure, they were an easy client, but there were 2 rounds, real editor hours. That's $1,500 that I ate. Post complexity, modest. Some motion graphics for the UI, call it $1,000. Then usage rights. Fellas, that film ran for 8 months as the top of their entire paid demo funnel across LinkedIn and YouTube. 8 months of national paid media on an asset that was converting. I charged them nothing for it. Not a single dollar. Zero. Zilch. That line alone could have been $6,000. The honest number on that job was closer to $24,500. I charged $16,000. I left roughly $8,500 on the table on one small project, and almost all of it was the one input I didn't even know existed. It was the bloody usage rights. And if that's what you guessed back in the beginning of the video, and you're already ahead of where I was 3 or 4 years ago. To recap, the production house pricing framework. Identify your honest base cost, then run it through these 5 inputs: creative risk, asset life, usage rights, revision exposure, post complexity. Price the 1 or 2 inputs where the project is genuinely high. Make those inputs visible in your proposal and ask this question very early on. How do you plan to use this and for how long? That's it. No complex spreadsheet, no algorithm, just a framework that puts the right variables on the table and changes the conversation. You, my friend, become the person serious and naturally who knows the value of the project. And as promised, the worksheet that I've put together is like a free one-pager pricing sheet in the description. It walks through kind of all 5 inputs for any project you're quoting. It takes about 15 minutes to fill in. You can use it as a guide or however have you. I use a version of this on every project now. Link is in the description. And fun thing, next video, I'm going to be doing something completely different. I'm going to be breaking down the opening chase scene in the movie Kingsman: The Golden Circle, shot by shot, showing you exactly why it works when most chase scenes don't usually work. It is a masterclass in geography, escalation, and cutting. And almost nobody talks about it properly. I'm excited to do that video. I've already started planning it. So please subscribe so you don't miss that video. All right? See you there. Peace.